difficult exam, you are being unfair to borderline students, to minimally competent students.
Because I have an exam, the results was 50%.
So it, you should have looked at it before the exam. But now, if you are looking at it after the exam, this is norm referencing. This is norm referencing.
Okay.
Now, the second method for criteria referencing. Now, criteria referencing, the second method is called the Nedelsky method. Now, Dr. Yamani, this is the method used for MCQs. This is the method used particularly for MCQs.
Okay.
It is similar, but the judges separately examine the questions and the options determine the options a borderline or minimally competent students can take as plausible answers. What do I mean by that? Bashir, can you mute please? Bashir Asdak. Now, I am going to take question one, the MCQ, and usually we use four options. Four options including the key. In the Nedelsky method, what we are trying to do is to calculate the guessing chance. We want to calculate the guessing chance. What is the guessing chance for this particular question? Now, we look at the options. If we look at the options and see which ones a borderline students can exclude straight away. Even a borderline students will know that this answer is not appropriate. This is a wrong answer. So we need to exclude the options which even a borderline students can exclude. So if we have four options, if we cannot exclude any option, it means the guessing chance is 25%. If the student guesses the guess, he has got a guessing chance of 25%. But if he can exclude one option, then the guessing chance is more. Because he now can exclude one. So the guessing chance is now more. It is now 33%. If he can exclude two, then the guessing chance is now 50%. If he can exclude three, so he's left only with the correct answer, then the guessing chance is 100%. So this is called the Nedelsky method. You look at the options and determine whether a minimally competent student can actually exclude the option. So you are now calculating the guessing chance. And to get the mark for the question, you reciprocate. You divide 1 by the remaining. 1 over 3 is 33%, 1 over 4 is 25%, 1 over 2 is 50%, and 1 over 1 is 100%. So a very easy question in which a student can exclude all the wrong answers. The pass mark for that question is 100% because the guessing chance is 100%. Then you reciprocate, and then you discuss the judgments, and then you average the judgments. It is clear the Nedelsky method for MCQs.
Yes.
And it is also called the minimum pass level, a minimum pass index. For each question, it's called the minimum pass index, MPI.
I think.
MPI.
Yes,
Yes.
I think it's more accurate and more precise than the Angop's method.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Because this is based on the ability of the minimally competent to exclude plausible answers. Okay. I'm just answering a chat, please, sorry. So this is the second method of standard setting for criterion referencing. Now, the method for norm referencing, you calculate the mean and standard deviation for grading. So Islam, you said only 50% of the students passed, or the pass mark was 50?
Yeah, the average pass mark.
The average pass mark. So you need to calculate, in addition to the average, you need to calculate the standard deviation. It is not the average pass mark, it is the average performance, and there is a big difference. You know, when you average the results of students, it should be a C. It should be a C. So a C, how much is a C in Al-Maarif University? C. The C grade, how much? 70. The C grade is 70. If the average for your exam is 50, then you have a big problem. Because now your C is 50, not the pass mark. So how do you calculate a pass mark for such an exam? You calculate the mean and the standard deviation. And then you subtract the standard deviation. So if the mean is X, which is the C, then the pass mark, which is the D, is X minus 1 standard deviation. Or the B is an X plus 1 standard deviation, and so on. The distinction, the A, is X plus 2 standard deviation. X is the mean, the M. So this is called the curving, but the curving based on calculations, norm referencing. Because there is another type of curving, we will discuss it in the normalization session on Tuesday. But anyhow, this is how you calculate, how you apply the mean and the standard deviation method. You calculate the mean and the standard deviation. To get the pass mark, which is a D, you subtract 1 standard deviation from the mean, and then this will be your pass mark. You add 1 standard deviation to get the B, and you add another standard deviation to get your A. This is the norm referencing method. There are many norm referencing methods, but this is one of them. And then I will tell you later what to do with this new pass mark. You use it for normalization of the results, and we will actually go into the details of normalization on Tuesday. Now, this is just the last part of the discussion. If you want to determine a pass mark for the whole exam, of course, for the whole course, you cannot base that on individual questions, on items. You do it in a different way. For example, now we are expected to calculate the assessment, the final assessment mark for each student. And then we need to analyze the results. Are they within normal? Are they as expected? Because this is one of our worries, isn't it? We want to examine the results after they are done and see have the new circumstances, the new this corona environment, has it affected the performance of students in our exams? Are we being fair? So how do we calculate or determine the expected results? How do we determine the expected results so that we can say, okay, this is within our expectations, or this is beyond our expectations? How do we do it? So this is determining the expected level. It's called the expected level of performance based on the current situation. It should be based on the following. The first one, the level of our students. You cannot expect a result without looking at your cohort, the cohort of students, the cohort you are dealing with. You as educator, you know that this cohort is better than the previous one, or they are not as good as the previous ones. So you know the students. So it's based on your your subjective judgment about the students based on interaction and performance in previous exams. You know that I expect the performances of these students to be high or low or average or what, based on the level of the student. But also the nature of the course. Maybe I teach more than one course. I taught these students, for example, in medicine, the gastrointestinal system. I taught them the gastrointestinal system and their performance was like this. But now I am teaching them the nervous system. It's a bit different. So it's also based on the nature of the course. Also, and this is important in our situation, although we are interacting with the students through video conferencing,